of us sitting here are here because of what our mothers fought for, right? Back in the day, you didn't find women in executive positions or in even leadership roles. And I love how Ms. Sonja mentioned in her speech earlier on that is 0.5% in Africa women in tech, right? That is like a really, really low number. Yeah? And that means maybe 30 years ago, 50 years ago, there were no women in tech. I recently met a woman at Namibian High School who told me that, and I was shocked. She told me that it was difficult for her to get medical aid when she started working because she wasn't married. And in those days, you only got medical aid when you were married. Now, this woman is still a teacher. She's not a pensioner, meaning this happened, 30, 40 years ago, right? So us being here is diversity, right? Women in such spaces is considered diversity. So let me put it in an analogy like this. Diversity is the different ingredients that you need when baking a cake, right? It's amazing. You have your chocolate chips, you have your flour, you have your butter, your sugar, the also yumminess. Yeah. But now you have all these ingredients lined out, right? But if you don't put them together at a specific ratio, you're going to make a chaotic mess, right? So as much as diversity is important in organizations, the bigger thing than diversity is inclusion. You can hire 50 women in an organization, but if there's no inclusion, if those women are not given the opportunity to use their voices, then you're not going to have that change. You're not going to see the diversity within that organization. One of the big conversations that we have right now in my field is companies being cognizant that a lot of the women within the organizations are going through menopause and educating themselves on how to support women going through menopause. Now, this might sound like, oh my God, menopause. It's just hot flashes, right? No. There is so much more to do with menopause. There's heart palpitations. There is not sleeping enough. There's night sweats. There is a lot. Now, if organizations don't educate themselves about this, they're going to feel that their female employees are not working optimally, right? And that's where I come in. I give organizations the opportunity to understand the differences among us and embrace those differences and not reject them, right? So, our conversation this afternoon, we're going to talk about 8 reasons. Okay, in sign language, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 reasons why you should have diversity and inclusion in your teams. Number 1. Diverse teams bring together people with different backgrounds, experiences, and viewpoints. This variety of perspectives can lead to more angles. They are more likely to identify unique opportunities and develop products that address a wider array of needs and preferences. Did you know when the iPhone first introduced the app for health, the Apple Health app on the phone, it never considered putting on a menstrual cycle tracker. In 2014, it released this app. And some of us, we've been tracking our cycles for many years. So we downloaded Flow. You know Flow? Because Apple never saw it necessary to include this on the app. Why? Because there were no women involved in the creation of that app. I'll even use an example as mundane as the menstrual pad. Did you know it was only recently that they started actually testing menstrual pads with blood? Before that, they used saline. And they'd complain as to why women were not happy with the pads that they had, right? So having diverse people on your team allows you to look at different angles when actually creating a product for those people. Now, we're women in tech, right? So let us think about different opportunities that we can help our women locally in Namibia. One segment that we find a lot of women in is in agriculture, right? So if you were developing a technology specifically for women in agriculture, who should you have on the table? The women that are actually on the ground utilizing those skills. Women actually who are working with the soil, understanding the processes, how they need the water to run, how they need it to flow. They're the ones you should have at the table when creating this app or this product. Number 2 is understanding global and local markets. A diverse team can better understand and cater to the needs of global customer bases. In Namibia, we have the amazing opportunity of having a plethora of cultural differences, right? Now, one thing might mean something in a word in one language or dialect and mean something completely different in another language, right? Let me use the example of Nipa, right? What does Nipa mean in Oshiwambo? Or Nipa? What does it mean? Crickets! What does it mean? Onipa? It means educators. I should educate. The crickets are cricketing. Okay, so I'm not Oshiwambo speaking, okay? But I was informed that Onipa means man. Omanya, yeah. But in Tree, it means person, right? So now if you were to put this an advert out there with Onipa, or actually let me use a better example. So I came to Namibia in 1997, right? And everywhere I went, I saw these beautiful churches, and on the buildings, I would read, "Die here." You understand? You see? And I was like, Haibo, what are these buildings that you enter and die? And then I was later informed that it's actually die here, right? So having different people on your teams that understand these things will be able to help you to better develop products that speak to all people. All right. Another thing is enhanced problem solving skills. Studies have shown that diverse teams are better at problem solving. The presence of different cognitive approaches means that diverse teams can tackle complex problems more effectively. 3 plus 4 is 7, right? 2 plus 5 is also 7. 1 plus 6 is also 7. But if all of you see 7 as 2 plus 5, you're not going to be able to embrace the differences around you, which could actually enable you to create a product that could reach different markets. All right. Number 4, empathy and user-centric design. Diversity in teams fosters empathy among team members, leading to a more user-centric approach, right? So, for example, think about Netflix and YouTube. When Netflix and YouTube came out, they didn't have subtitles, meaning that they had completely shut out the deaf community or hard of hearing people. They just assumed that everybody can hear, right? And adding on to that, when we go to Maresch Mall and there's a fire, we hear a fire alarm, right? And we run to our cars. But there are no flashing lights that indicate to our deaf and hard of hearing community members that there is an actual emergency. So what companies need to do is actually find different people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, languages, get them together and ask them, do you understand these things? I recently went to register to vote. Have you registered to vote, guys? Very good. If you don't vote, you're not allowed to complain. Okay, very good. All right. So while I was there registering to vote, I noticed that there were no sign language interpreters. And I said to myself, how are you going to help a deaf person when they come in? And they said we would try. Haibo. It's these small things. So many times in hospitals, we find deaf people misdiagnosed. Why? Because, again, there are no interpreters, right? So it's small, small things that we don't think about. And because we don't think about it, we assume certain things about other people, right? All white people are rich, right? All Nkanjeras are thieves. Nah. Hereros like to eat meat, right? All the foreigners will steal our jobs. Nah? We have assumptions that we play on, which brings me to my next point. When you have different people from different backgrounds, you're able to test those assumptions and speak about it in safe spaces, right? Not saying that, okay, now we all assume that all Nganjeras are thieves, okay? Now we speak about, well, like, no, Nganjeras are not thieves, guys. But because you have this assumption, we can actually use an opportunity to educate other people, All right, very good. The next one is reducing groupthink. Have you noticed how difficult it is when managing a team? Because I'm assuming I'm speaking to executives, right? When you're managing a team and everybody's like, yes, 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 yes. What do you mean, yes? Like there's this thing where everybody just wants to go the same direction so that the meeting can finish, right? Because it's taking long, my goodness, I must go do other things. Ne? So what you want to do when you have a diverse team is that you actually break that mold. People start to question other people's opinions. People start to drop things like, no, you can't do that in my culture because it's seen as this. Like I recently learned that when you go to the Shwambo person's house and they're pouring something for you to drink, don't hold the cup, put it down. And I was like, oh. So now I know that. I didn't know that beforehand. Make sense? So having people from different backgrounds allows you to create products that better speak to a plethora of individuals. The number 7 is reflecting the customer base. A diverse team better reflects the diversity of the customer base, meaning, for example, in Namibia, we have many, many, many people, right? Only 3 million though, but we are many guys. But we are 3 million. Okay, 3 million point something, something, something. All right. Now, when we're reflecting our customer base, we are able to align our products to these customer bases. So if you are creating a product and your product is being able to be translated into Oshiwambo, Rukangali, Lozi, Damara, Nama, German, Afrikaans, English, Tswana, look at all the different people that you're actually reaching instead of only translating it into English. For example, now if you had all these people on your table, they were going to be able to teach you how you can better incorporate specific elements into your product to make it more appealing to that cultural group. All right? So it helps you to reflect your customer base and also help you to retain those customers, which then leads to number 8, which is long-term competitive advantage. So because you have the diversity, you're able to always be on the ground, hearing and understanding what the people need. Which brings me to the design thinking concept. Have you ever heard of that concept, design thinking? Right. So design thinking is thinking or designing a product from a customer-centric perspective. And that is what you want to do, ladies and gentlemen. So as we look towards the future, the importance of diversity in teams is that companies that prioritize inclusion will be the ones leading the way and setting new standards for innovation and customer satisfaction. So I want you to remember this. Having these diverse people on your table is not going to miraculously help you develop a product that is so rah, okay? No. It's actually including them in the conversation that is going to get you there. Just sitting here right now, I see a plethora of different people, right? We have tall people, we have short people, we have people who are light in complexion, people who are dark in complexion. And that might not seem really relevant until you're looking for your foundation shade, né? And you can't find it. Nee, as by a heart seer. By a heart seer. Because now you're light here, you are dark here. The things are not balancing. Huh? And why is it that? Is because the people creating that product did not think about your skin tone. Right? So invite the people to the table and give them a voice to speak. Championing diversity and inclusion is not just about doing the right thing. It's about making products, creating companies, and building a world that is stronger and more meaningful. So when creating new products, don't just put all the ingredients out there, like the cake. Mix them well and create a product that stands out for all people. And I love what Sonja said when she had her talk earlier on. She said that what Salt Essential aims to do is to reskill, relearn, and develop. So when you're doing that, bear that in mind and create amazing products. Thank you.
Thank you.